The breath of the steppe. Before the night settles, before your thoughts find rest, imagine a horizon without walls, only wind and quiet movement. Here the earth breathes in slow rhythm, carrying the scent of distance and dust. Every whisper of grass holds a memory of endurance, and every sound drifts gently into sleep. The night opens slowly across the endless plains, spreading like calm water beneath a sky too vast to measure. The air moves with the steadiness of a tide, brushing over sleeping grass that sways in half-light, cool and unhurried. A soft breath escapes from a horse nearby, and the leather of its harness creaks with the quiet patience of long travel. Somewhere, a faint ember glows, the last remnant of a fire that once flickered in a circle of stones. It fades without smoke, leaving behind the simple scent of warmth remembered. Around you, the land feels alive but motionless, as if the world itself were holding its breath. In this silence, there is a rhythm older than thought, a balance between sound and stillness that guides all living things. The riders move within it, not against it. Their forms are dark shapes beneath a pale moon, cloaked in wool and shadow, eyes calm and clear. They do not speak because nothing here requires words. The hooves strike the ground with measured certainty, and each step carries the weight of distance without the noise of effort. You can almost feel the way the air folds around them, cool and full of dust that tastes faintly of iron and salt. Above, the constellations drift like slow sparks, unchanging, indifferent, and yet somehow kind. The horizon stretches without edge, curving into a softness that hides no cities, no walls, only the quiet movement of life that endures. Far away, a wolf calls, not in hunger, but in rhythm with the night, a sound that echoes once and dissolves into wind. The grass bends and straightens, whispering secrets no one needs to know. You breathe it in, and the scent of the steppe fills your chest, dry, clean, endless. Each breath seems to last longer than the one before. The cold brushes your cheeks, not cruelly, but as a reminder of presence. The riders ahead leave faint traces, lines that vanish as quickly as they form. Their pace never changes. The land beneath them has seen countless journeys, each forgotten, yet each leaving something unseen. The warmth of hooves, the faint vibration of motion through soil. Time here does not count itself in hours, but in horizons past and returned. You begin to understand the calm that lives in motion, the stillness found only when everything moves together: horse, wind, grass, and silence. Somewhere in the distance, the moon lowers, and the stars begin their slow retreat behind the thin curtain of dawn. The air cools further, turning almost glass-like. You pull your cloak tighter, not from fear, but from habit, as if following a ritual as old as travel itself. The plain responds with its own small sounds: the crack of frost, the shifting of hooves, the rustle of breath against cloth. It feels less like movement and more like the earth adjusting itself around you. Every path on this land leads somewhere and nowhere at once, looping back through memory and dream. You listen closely and realize that even silence here has texture. Layers of wind, grain, and distance woven together so finely that they sound like rest. The first pale light touches the edge of the horizon, not bright, just a soft widening of space where night becomes another shade of blue. The riders slow but do not stop. Their shadows lengthen, merging with the low fog that begins to rise from the earth. One lifts a hand slightly, signaling nothing more than awareness. The others nod, unseen but certain. The steppe awakens without noise, and every living thing stirs with it. Somewhere behind you, the last star fades. The night does not end, it only changes shape, folding itself into morning. The air remains the same, patient, steady, carrying the quiet song of endurance. You feel it move through you, and you understand, perhaps for the first time, that stillness is not the absence of life, but its purest form. The Riders of the Wind. The dawn is pale and slow to arrive, a quiet unveiling of the horizon after a night without dreams. Frost glitters faintly on every blade of grass, turning the steppe into a sea of silver that moves with the lightest breath of wind. Around the camp, shapes begin to stir beneath wool and hide, not hurried, not heavy, but with the calm rhythm of those who have done the same each morning for all their lives. There are no calls, no shouts, no need for instruction. Every motion has already been learned, every gesture repeated until it feels like memory itself. A hand tightens the strap of a saddle, another ties a rope, coils it twice, and hangs it carefully by the horse's side. Steam rises from the mouths of animals as they breathe, slow and even, their bodies strong beneath the fur. The sound of leather pulling against leather blends with the creak of wood, the low sigh of the wind, and the small, distinct rhythm of hooves shifting in frost. It is a symphony of survival, played softly, meant for no audience. You take a piece of dried meat from a pouch and chew until it softens, its salt lingering on your tongue, sharp but grounding. From a flask made of leather and years, you drink a sour liquid that warms you from the inside, its taste alive and old. The air carries the scent of smoke, of horse, of snow not yet fallen. Each breath feels like a thin thread that ties you to the cold, to the moment, to the quiet understanding shared by all who live under this sky. When the sun finally lifts, it does so without ceremony. It rises pale and distant, filtered through a mist that softens every edge. The riders begin to move, one by one, forming a line that bends with the land. They do not speak of direction, they do not question the pace. The wind leads them, and that is enough. It slides sideways across the plain, brushing faces until they grow numb, pressing against the cloth wrapped around their heads, tugging at the tassels on saddles. The world narrows to breath, to balance, to the steady rhythm of hooves that fall in near-perfect unison. No one looks back. There is nothing behind them that the wind has not already taken. To move is to live, to rest is to fade, and the lesson is written not in words, but in miles. The horizon stretches like an unbroken promise, always distant, always near. Clouds drift above like herds untethered, moving slowly toward nowhere, their shadows gliding across the land. The earth beneath feels endless, but not empty, alive, but never loud. You can almost hear it breathe, a low, steady hum that exists beyond hearing, beyond time. The riders do not fight this rhythm, they match it, letting the world set their pace. Their horses move as if born from the same wind they chase, their muscles flowing beneath skin that glistens faintly in the sun. Dust clings to the edges of their coats, to the folds of clothing, to the lines around eyes that never blink against the cold. When the wind shifts, it brings the scent of distant grass, of rivers frozen into silence, of firewood that will never reach this far. Yet no one shivers, no one hesitates. The plain demands stillness of heart, not stillness of body. You begin to understand that the riders do not conquer distance, they become part of it. The landscape accepts them because they do not ask it to change. They move as the hawk moves, as the shadow moves, without weight, without sound. The rhythm deepens, the hooves drum like a heartbeat under the earth, and even the frost seems to pulse with their passing. You feel it through your hands, resting on the saddle, through your knees against the horse's sides. The body learns before the mind does. How to balance, how to breathe, how to let the motion carry you instead of resisting it. The sun climbs higher, turning the frost to water, the grass to gold. The plain opens wider, revealing folds of hills that rise and fall like the slow breathing of the world. Far in the distance, a herd of wild horses runs parallel for a moment, their movements fluid and free before they turn and vanish into a shimmer of light. The wind changes direction again, brushing from the east, cooler now, filled with fine dust that tastes faintly of salt and distance. You pull the scarf tighter around your neck, your fingers stiff but certain. There is no need for words. The riders know the rhythm of the day. Ride until the light softens, rest when the air begins to freeze, eat only what remains from the morning. Every hour feels the same and yet different, each one another quiet conversation between endurance and grace. The land gives nothing freely, but it also takes nothing cruelly. It simply exists, vast and patient, teaching by presence alone. A small bird crosses your path, fluttering low, before rising again, its wings, cutting thin arcs through the pale air. Even its sound fades before reaching you. The silence here is not empty, it is full, dense with memory. You imagine how many lives have crossed this same horizon, how many footsteps have vanished without trace, how many fires have burned and gone cold without leaving ash. The thought does not bring sadness, it feels natural, inevitable, like watching snow melt. Everything belongs to the same circle of wind, dust, and time. By midday, the light hardens. The riders' shadows shorten, their movements slower now but still steady. The air grows warmer, carrying the faint hum of insects, hidden among dry stalks. A hawk glides overhead, motionless except for the tilt of a wing. Below, the land stretches to infinity, a patchwork of brown, gold, and silver. You feel both small and infinite within it. The sound of hooves continues, unchanged, the same soft percussion that began with the dawn. When you look ahead, you see nothing but the next horizon. When you look behind, the dust has already erased every sign of where you've been. The wind moves through it all, erasing and creating at once. In this vastness, time loses meaning. You realize the riders are not chasing the horizon, they are simply following it, the way a river follows its own course. The world around you is wide and quiet, but inside that quiet lives a deep peace, the kind that asks for nothing but attention. The day stretches forward, calm and endless, and you continue to ride, the wind at your side, the land beneath you, the rhythm of endurance carrying you toward whatever comes next, unhurried, unafraid, infinite. The way of balance. By midday, the air turns pale and weightless, and the horses breathe in long, steady bursts that mist the air before fading. The light has shifted to silver, a soft gleam that rests on the plains without burning. It touches the saddles, the ropes, the quiet armor of dust upon every face, and it lingers as if the world itself were pausing to exhale. The riders slow, then stop beside a shallow river that winds through stones and grass like a single bright thread. Its water moves lazily, smooth and cold, reflecting the faint shimmer of the clouds above. No one speaks. There is no command, no signal. The rhythm of the day has simply arrived at its still point. Leather bags are passed hand to hand, and the sound of shifting straps and creaking saddlewood blends with the hush of the river. Someone laughs softly, not out of humor, but from the small relief of being still. It lasts only a moment, a single warm sound in the cool air, before fading again into calm. The meal is plain, a quiet conversation between hunger and patience. Thin slices of meat, softened by the warmth of the hand, a mouthful of milk shared from a skin bottle, the faint sweetness of rest after hours of motion. There are no plates, no ceremony, only necessity wrapped in simplicity. Every movement is efficient, graceful, without intention. When the last pieces are eaten, the riders clean their hands with sand, rubbing the fine grains over skin until the oil and dust vanish. The gesture feels both ancient and practical, a ritual of survival disguised as habit. The sand falls back to the earth, taking with it the memory of the meal. Around you, faces are calm, eyes half lowered or focused on distance. No one looks for conversation, no one seeks approval. The quiet is not loneliness, it is understanding. Each person has learned that silence holds more truth than speech, that the sound of breathing, the rhythm of the horse's flank, rising and falling beside you, is enough to remind you that life continues. In this place, strength is not loud, not sharp. It exists in endurance, in the calm that allows movement to begin again when the moment calls. The air cools as the sun drifts westward. The wind slides down from the hills, carrying with it the scent of cold stone and river water. It touches your face, your hands, your horse's mane, and seems to whisper something only the land understands. A hawk circles high above, slow and deliberate, tracing invisible paths that belong to no one. The riders watch it for a moment, then turn their gaze back to the horizon, which hums faintly with heat and distance. The light moves across the plains like water spilling from a tilted bowl, silver turning to grey, grey softening to blue. The world feels suspended between breath and thought, as if waiting for something it already knows will come. You rest your back against your saddle, feeling the ground beneath you. Firm, cool, alive. The grass bends in small waves as the wind changes direction. You close your eyes for a moment, not to sleep, but to listen. The world hums in layers, the faint pulse of insects, the shifting of hooves, the quiet rustle of leather as a rider adjusts his seat. Even the river seems to murmur softly, repeating its endless song to the stones that never answer. In this balance, you feel the shape of existence, motion and stillness, hunger and rest, heat and chill, all circling one another in quiet perfection. The horses lower their heads to drink, their muzzles darkening with water, droplets falling back like scattered glass. One of them shakes its mane, and the sound echoes briefly across the plain. It is a reminder that life here never stops, only slows. The wind cools again, brushing lightly across the camp, stirring the loose ends of rope and the fringe of your cloak. It carries a low hum, a sound so faint it could be mistaken for memory. The riders begin to stir, standing one by one, stretching limbs grown stiff. Saddles are checked, straps tightened, water poured back into skins. There is no signal, no call to depart. Only the silent understanding that rest has lasted long enough. The river continues to move, indifferent, eternal. You step across a smooth stone and mount again, feeling the familiar weight of the saddle beneath you, the strength of the horse beneath your legs. The plain opens ahead, its horizon faintly blurred by dust and light. The riders align in quiet rhythm, each finding a place within the slow wave of motion that begins anew. The first few steps sound heavy, then the rhythm steadies, becoming soft and endless once more. The sun dips lower, its silver turning to a pale warmth that glows through the haze. The air vibrates gently, the kind of vibration that lives just beneath hearing. A pulse in the distance, the heartbeat of a land that never stops breathing. The wind, steady and cool, hums softly across the horizon, carrying stories older than speech, smoothing away the traces of everything that came before. You feel it on your face, your hands, your heart. It does not speak of beginning or end, it simply is. The riders merge with the motion again, their shapes small against the vast silver plain, their presence marked only by the faint shimmer of dust that rises and fades. Balance returns not as something to hold, but as something to travel within, a way of being quiet and infinite, as steady as the earth beneath and as patient as the sky above. The map of sky and earth. Evening comes slowly, spreading like ink across the quiet plain, soft and patient, turning the gold of day into the cool silver of rest. The air thins and deepens, carrying with it the scent of frost and smoke, the faint sweetness of grass folded under hooves. The riders have stopped for the night. They move with calm precision, not because of command, but because habit has shaped their hands to know what must be done. Fires are small, built from dried grass and memories of warmth. The smoke rises in narrow streams that drift sideways before dissolving into the gathering dark. There is no chatter, no clatter of metal or noise of celebration. Only the steady rhythm of quiet work, the tightening of rope, the soft thud of a saddle set down, the murmur of water poured into a wooden bowl. One horse exhales, another shifts weight, the sound blending with the low hum of wind. The night has its own kind of breath here, slow and steady, the rhythm of a land that has never hurried. The leader sits apart, not in height or distance, but in stillness. He kneels in the dust, beside the faint glow of the fire, and with one gloved hand, he draws lines into the earth. The motion is deliberate, almost meditative. His finger moves across the soil, a curve for a river, a mark for a hill, a dot for a camp remembered from another season. He does not need parchment or ink. The land is its own map, and the stars above are its coordinates. When he looks up, his eyes follow the pattern of light that stretches endlessly across the sky. There is no confusion in his gaze, no doubt. Every constellation is a road, every flicker of starlight a landmark carried in the mind. He murmurs only a few words, not loud enough to echo. Move west, keep watch, return with the dawn. The others nod, the gestures small, almost imperceptible. They know these words not as orders, but as reminders of what the land already asks. The stars continue to rise, unhurried, one by one, filling the darkness with quiet certainty. Around the camp, the world breathes in slow, even intervals. The wind shifts direction, brushing the fire sideways, making the flames bow and dance. Shadows lengthen and bend, wrapping themselves around saddles and sleeping forms. The horses lower their heads, their tails flicking softly against the cool air. They chew with slow rhythm, their bodies relaxed, their trust complete. Somewhere in the distance, a fox crosses between patches of grass, unseen but known. Its movement disturbs nothing, even the night seems to make room for it. The riders sit in loose circles, faces faintly illuminated by the firelight, their features softened into thought. Some stare into the flame, others into the dark, but all share the same expression, the quiet focus of those who understand the weight of silence. One man sharpens a knife, the sound soft and even, more like breathing than work. Another adjusts his boots, checking the leather where it has cracked. Each action is small but necessary. In this world, survival is not a matter of struggle, but of rhythm, the balance of motion and rest, of wind and breath, of knowing when to move and when to be still, is what keeps life from breaking. The fire pops once, scattering a small burst of sparks into the air. They rise, twist, and vanish before touching the stars. The leader watches them, then presses his palm flat against the earth, feeling the vibration beneath. Somewhere far away, rivers are moving, wind is shifting sand, animals are crossing unseen paths. All of it connects. the motion of the sky, the pulse of the ground, the breath of the living. There is no crown here, no throne, no flag that binds them, only direction, only purpose drawn in the language of dust and stars. Maps are not written for the eyes, but for the memory. They live inside the body, in the way hands know to pull reins, in how feet find balance on uneven ground, in the quiet certainty that the world will reveal itself to those who travel gently. The light from the fire weakens. It sinks low, glowing red at its base. Someone adds a handful of dry dung to feed it. The smoke turns thicker for a moment, carrying the scent of earth and age. The night accepts it without protest. A dog barks once in the distance, and the sound fades almost immediately, absorbed by the vastness. The leader finally stops tracing the lines. The map is finished, though it will leave no mark by morning. The wind will erase it, as it erases everything, returning the ground to emptiness. He looks up again. The stars are brighter now, a field of light so dense it feels near enough to touch. He finds the familiar shapes, the hunter, the river, the bow. Each one a guide, each one a reminder that the world is not chaos but pattern. The others lie down one by one, wrapping themselves in cloaks, their movements quiet and careful. Horses settle near them, their breath misting like smoke. The leader remains awake a little longer. He studies the sky as though reading a book written without words. The constellations drift slowly westward, tracing time across the dark. It is enough. He closes his eyes, and the sound of the wind fills the space where thought once was. The fire dwindles, its last flame folding inward like a sigh. The plain around them darkens completely, yet it does not feel empty. It feels alive, filled with invisible movement. Air, earth, stars, all breathing in rhythm. The world in its vastness feels infinite, yet perfectly calm, as if the night itself were a quiet teacher. It teaches without speaking, reminds without warning. In its silence lies a lesson older than any kingdom. That direction is not found on paper, but in the balance between ground and sky, between what can be seen and what can only be felt. You breathe once more, slow and even, letting the wind carry your breath away. The fire has turned to ash. The stars remain. The riders sleep, and the world turns gently beneath them, endless, patient, whole. The calm of order, Charlemagne's realm. Far from the endless plains and the quiet rhythm of hooves, another land rests beneath the glow of hearths and the soft hum of stone walls breathing warmth into the night. The air here is still, heavy with the scent of wood smoke and wax, touched by the faint echo of bells that mark the turning of hours. The roads stretch like veins through valleys and hills, lined with stones set by patient hands. Along them, travelers move at measured pace. Monks in brown cloaks carrying small bundles of parchment, merchants guiding carts creaking under the weight of grain, and riders bearing sealed letters that carry more than words. They carry the pulse of an empire learning how to speak. In the heart of this land stands a great hall of timber and stone, simple in shape but built with the intention of permanence. Within its walls, light falls through narrow windows, painting long, gold-edged lines across the floor. A ruler sits at a heavy table covered in parchment, ink, and instruments of thought. His posture is calm, not the calm of idleness but of focus. He studies not the sword but the quill, not the march of armies but the order of sentences. His fingers move with precision, tracing letters that form laws, ideas, and records. Around him, the air hums with quiet labor. The faint scratch of quills mingles with the rustle of pages and the soft murmur of voices reading aloud in different tongues. Words from distant lands, Latin, Frankish, Greek, blend into a steady rhythm, each sound a small stone in the foundation of something greater. The scholars who sit near the walls are not soldiers, yet their patience is another kind of strength. They copy, translate, and preserve what would otherwise be lost. Their task is endless but serene, guided by the belief that order, once written, can hold chaos at bay. Outside, the world reflects the same rhythm. Builders carve bridges over rivers where mist gathers each morning. Craftsmen raise towers not for defense, but for knowledge, marking the landscape with symbols of endurance. In villages scattered across the valleys, people plow the soil, plant seeds, teach their children the slow art of letters. A boy draws his first name in dust, his mother watching in quiet pride. A messenger crosses a hill at dusk, his horse leaving trails of steam in the cold air. Bells ring faintly from a monastery beyond the river, calling not to battle, but to reflection. The empire moves as a tide, vast, deliberate, unhurried. Each wave builds upon the one before, smoothing what was rough, connecting what was once separate. Within this order there is peace, not the fragile peace of silence, but the deep calm that comes when every hand knows its place. In towns, markets hum with the steady rhythm of trade. Bread changes hands, tools are mended, news travels from mouth to mouth. Nothing here feels hurried, for the ruler's design is patience itself. He believes that greatness lies not in conquest but in structure, the measured building of a world that can endure beyond its maker. The night deepens and torches flicker in corridors where guards walk softly, their armor polished but quiet. In one room, a teacher reads to a circle of students, his voice low and rhythmic. The sound of Latin syllables floats through the hall like a lullaby to the walls themselves. A clerk adjusts his candle, its flame reflecting in his tired eyes as he counts lines by whispering numbers under his breath. Beyond the city, under the cover of fog, roads extend toward other towns, paths of connection, arteries of meaning. Along them, riders pass one another in greeting, sharing warmth in brief moments before disappearing again into distance. There is a stillness to this realm that feels alive, not static. Even the air seems organized, flowing from high towers down into the courtyards and fields, touching everything with quiet purpose. The moon rises above the rooftops, its pale light tracing the outlines of a civilization learning how to balance strength with knowledge. Somewhere in the distance, a forge glows, metal meeting fire, the heartbeat of progress softened by restraint. The ruler sets aside his pen and looks up, his face thoughtful, not weary. On the table before him, the ink dries in even lines, neat and sure. These words will travel farther than any army could march. They will shape the memory of places yet unbuilt, of people yet born. The sound of the hall at night is a chorus of small sounds. The turning of pages, the quiet exhale of a candle, the muted thud of footsteps on stone. It feels as if the entire world breathes in unison, a harmony of motion and stillness. Outside the window, the river moves under the moonlight, smooth and silver, mirroring the slow pulse of the realm. In the meadows beyond the walls, oxen rest, their breaths forming pale clouds in the cold. Farmers sleep in houses of wood and thatch, their dreams filled not with fear, but with the steady repetition of days, planting, harvesting, learning, resting. Order has become the heartbeat of life here, steady and kind. As the ruler rises, he walks the length of the hall, his hand brushing the cool stone of the wall. He pauses before a map, painted in faint ink, lines showing rivers and mountains, towns and paths. Each mark represents not territory, but connection. The quill, not the sword, is what binds them. He knows this, and in knowing he finds peace. The torches flicker lower, the halls dim. The city settles into sleep, its fires glowing in scattered windows like small stars caught on earth. Somewhere beyond the fields, the bells toll once more, marking the hour. Their sound travels slowly across valleys and rivers, a calm reminder that time itself is another kind of order. The ruler returns to his table, sits, and writes a final line before the candle burns low. The ink dries, the quill rests, and the night deepens around him, soft and vast. The empire continues to breathe in quiet rhythm. The sound of ink replaces the sound of steel, and within that exchange lies the promise of something enduring, a peace that needs no witness, a harmony built not from conquest but from care. Top of form, bottom of form, the gentle order of knowledge. In the stillness of night, the halls of stone breathe with a soft hum that comes not from voices, but from the turning of pages, the careful movement of hands guiding quills through lines of ink that seem to flow like water. The candles burn low, their flames wavering gently with the rhythm of unseen drafts, and the air carries the faint scent of parchment, wax, and distant rain. In these quiet rooms, learning itself has become a form of devotion, not to faith or conquest, but to understanding, to the slow and patient shaping of memory into permanence. Each scribe bends over a desk of oak, the light resting on his shoulders like a shawl of gold. Words move from one page to another, steady and exact, the letters tall and rounded, their order unbroken. The sound is a whispering chorus, the soft drag of quills, the occasional sigh of breath, the faint shifting of paper as hands adjust their hold. Nothing is rushed. Each line takes as long as it must. Each word is checked, considered, and made clean. The script itself is a reflection of order, the visible rhythm of a mind at peace with its purpose. Outside the walls, the night is vast and calm. The rain that had lingered through the afternoon has thinned to mist, wrapping the trees and roots in a pale veil. The ground smells of wet stone and earth, a scent both sharp and comforting. Somewhere beyond the city, a bell rings softly, the sound carried by the fog. It marks the hour, not as command, but as reassurance, a reminder that time continues even when no one is watching. Within the scriptorium, the scholars work as if time has no claim on them. They write not for today, but for all the tomorrows that might come. Their fingers are stained with ink, their eyes lined with quiet fatigue, yet their movements never falter. The act itself is a kind of meditation, the slow weaving of thought into permanence. On the shelves around them lie stacks of finished pages, some rolled, some bound in leather. The air smells faintly of glue, iron gall, and the smoke of oil lamps that have burned since dusk. A cat sleeps beneath one of the benches, curled into the shadow of an old chest, its ear flicking now and then at the sound of scratching quills. From time to time, one of the scribes pauses, straightens his back, and looks toward the window. Outside, the moon glows faintly through a veil of mist, its light dim but steady. He takes a sip of cool water, touches the edge of the parchment to test its dryness, and then continues, his pen tracing letters that mirror the shape of his breathing. This is the rhythm of learning, not loud, not swift, but constant. Across the realm, in towns and monasteries, others do the same. They copy texts of science and history, of law and poetry, keeping alive the thoughts of ages long past. The ruler who oversees this world understands that wisdom must move as rivers do, unseen yet essential, shaping the land without noise or force. He does not measure strength by armies or wealth, but by how knowledge flows through his people. Steady, nourishing, endless. He has built roads for messengers, schools for children, and halls where scholars from distant lands may meet in peace. His realm, once bound by the sword, now finds harmony in the pen. The old world of conquest, the restless noise of expansion, has faded behind him like the sound of thunder after a storm. What remains is a different kind of power, the quiet pulse of civilization, the peace that grows line by line, word by word, carried in the ink that stains the hands of those who write. Beyond the walls of the great halls, farmers work their fields under the soft grey of dawn. The plough moves through wet soil, turning it to air, releasing the smell of life. In villages, children trace letters on boards of wax, their laughter mingling with the soft bleating of sheep. A teacher corrects them with patience, his voice calm, his gestures kind. In workshops, craftsmen carve wood into tools, their motions careful and exact. Every task is done with attention, and attention itself has become a way of living. When night falls again, candles are lit once more, and the cycle begins anew. The copying, the reading, the learning. This is a realm where wisdom does not shout. It hums, quiet and enduring. In one of the towers, a young scholar studies an old text by the flickering light of a single candle. The page before him is covered in symbols, strange and ancient, from a land he will never see. He traces them slowly, lips moving in silence, trying to understand. The rain begins again, tapping softly on the window's glass. The sound blends with his breathing, and for a moment, the room feels suspended outside of time. Knowledge here is not a possession, but a conversation. Between the living and the dead, between the present and all that will follow. Each word carried forward is a bridge across ages built by hands that will never meet. In this way, the realm itself becomes a book, written not in chapters, but in lives. The ruler walks sometimes through these corridors, his steps light on the stone, his presence acknowledged with small nods. He does not disturb the work. He listens to it. The scratching, the sighing, the patient continuation of meaning. He knows that what is written here will outlast all that can be built of wood or stone. Outside, the fog thickens again, and the sound of bells drifts from the hills, soft and steady. They mark the passing of another hour, though no one measures it. Time has slowed to the rhythm of ink, of thought, of pages drying in candlelight. The ruler looks to the horizon through the narrow window where the rain has turned to mist, and the earth glows faintly beneath the moon. He smiles faintly, knowing that peace is not silence, but harmony, not absence, but balance. The world beyond his borders may shift and change, but within his realm there is continuity, a river of understanding flowing quietly beneath the noise of days. The quills continue to move, the candles burn lower, the ink darkens, glistens and dries. Beyond the hills, the bells call once more, their tones softened by fog. Each ring is gentle, measured, patient, a reminder that in this world, knowledge itself is the truest kind of order, and the night, like the mind, finds calm not in stillness, but in the quiet motion of learning. The Feast of Quiet Splendor. The great hall glows with a warmth that seems to breathe, the torchlight swaying against the stone walls, painting them in shades of gold and amber. The air is alive with softness, the scent of roasted bread and spiced wine, the faint sweetness of honey glazed over fruit, the low hum of conversation that rises and falls like a tide. The tables stretch long and heavy, made of oak, worn smooth by years, covered in white linen that ripples faintly in the movement of air. Candles burn in iron holders, their flames steady, their wax running slow rivers toward polished wood. The guests gather not in haste, not for show, but in quiet fellowship. Their clothes shimmer faintly in the firelight, muted reds, deep greens, gold threads that catch and release the light like whispers. They lift cups gently, speak in low tones, their laughter soft, never breaking the calm. The air is warm with life, yet there is peace in it, as though time itself has chosen to slow and sit among them. Music moves through the room in long, tender lines, the sigh of strings, the breath of flutes, the steady rhythm of fingers against the skin of a drum. It does not command attention, it fills the space like a second kind of air, invisible yet felt. The sound of knives cutting bread, of spoons meeting bowls, of wine being poured, blends into harmony with it. Everything has found its place in the rhythm. Behind the heavy door at the far end of the hall, the kitchen hums with its own quiet energy. Cooks move in calm precision, their hands guided by memory. Pots simmer over glowing coals, firelight reflecting in the copper and steel. Steam curls upward, carrying with it the perfume of herbs and broth, the earthy sweetness of grain. The air is thick, fragrant, alive. There is no shouting here, no rush, only the steady coordination of movement, a dance practiced for generations. Bread is brushed with butter and set to warm, platters of meat are turned and glazed, the fat sizzling in steady rhythm. Servants carry the dishes outward with measured steps, their expressions composed, their bodies trained to move without sound. Each plate that leaves the kitchen is an offering of patience, the result of work done not for praise, but for the pleasure of sharing. In the hall, the feast unfolds like a quiet river. Bowls are passed, hands reach and retreat, voices blend into one another. A man speaks softly of the harvest, another answers with a story of travel. A woman laughs, her voice bright but fleeting. Across the table, two children trade crumbs of bread, giggling behind their hands until their mother gently hushes them. There is warmth in every face, not of excitement, but of belonging. The air grows thicker with the scent of spice, cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, mixing with the deeper notes of wood smoke and roasted meat. The candles burn lower, the flames shortening, their light mellowing into gold. Shadows stretch across the ceiling like woven threads of dusk. The hall itself seems to breathe, expanding and contracting with the rhythm of its guests. Every detail becomes part of the same quiet music. The glint of silver, the soft brushing of cloth, the murmur of gratitude, too gentle to be heard clearly. The wine, deep red and slow to pour, moves from cup to cup, staining lips, loosening smiles. It is not for excess, but for ease, the comfort that allows hearts to rest together without pretense. Outside, the night is cool and still. Through narrow windows, the wind carries faint sounds of leaves moving, of water flowing somewhere beyond the fields. The torches near the doorway flicker with each gust, casting small waves of light across the floor. Yet inside, nothing wavers. The walls hold warmth like memory, the fire holds light like promise. As the courses end, the music softens further, becoming almost silence. A few notes linger in the air, then fade, leaving only the hum of voices and the faint crackle of the hearth. The last dishes are cleared, and the servants move once more, gathering what remains with care. Plates are stacked without sound, crumbs brushed aside, wine refilled for those who linger. The guests lean back in their chairs, the air around them dense with comfort. A few speak in murmurs, recalling moments of the day. Others simply sit, their eyes distant but content. The ruler at the head of the table does not stand to give a speech. His smile is small but genuine. He listens to the voices, the laughter, the stillness that fills the spaces between. It is not power he hears, but peace. He raises his cup once, quietly, and those nearest him mirror the gesture. No words follow. The meaning is clear enough. Gratitude without demand. joy without noise. When the meal ends, the candles have melted low, their light pooling like liquid gold. The smell of wax mingles with that of cooling bread, of fruit skins left on platters. The torches gutter one by one, their smoke drifting upward into the high beams where shadows sleep. Servants move through the hall once more, slow and sure, placing lids on jars, folding linen, closing shutters against the night. The music has stopped, yet its echo remains, a memory woven into the air itself. The guests begin to rise, their movements unhurried. Some linger by the fire, watching the embers settle into calm red glow. Others walk toward the doors, their footsteps light on stone, their voices low and fond. Outside, the sky has turned deep blue, nearly black, the stars just beginning to pierce through the mist. The air greets them with a soft chill, gentle after the warmth of the hall. They breathe deeply, the scent of the earth cool and real, and their hearts, full from the meal and the company, begin to slow into rest. Inside, the last candle flickers, its flame bending before it dies. The hall darkens but does not feel empty. The quiet that remains is not absence but fullness. The echo of laughter, the warmth of shared food, the faint perfume of spice that clings to the air. In that silence, the world feels whole, as though every moment of care, every patient gesture, every steady hand had joined together to create something deeper than joy, contentment. It lingers long after the fire has dimmed, the kind of peace that asks for nothing more, the kind that feels like rest. The rhythm of hospitality. Outside, the air cools with the slow grace of evening, the warmth of the feast dissolving into the calm breath of night. The last torches flicker against the courtyard walls, their light trembling before each gust of wind that passes through the open gate. Inside the great hall, the hum of voices has faded, leaving behind an echo that seems to live in the stones themselves. Laughter softened by distance, the hush of footsteps crossing the floor, the faint, dying chords of a lute somewhere beyond the corridor. The servants move quietly through the space, their motions light and unbroken, collecting cups and plates, folding linen, stacking wood beside the hearth for the next dawn. Their steps make no sound but the soft brush of cloth against stone, a rhythm so subtle it could be mistaken for breathing. The air carries the faint perfume of spices and wine, mingled now with the scent of extinguished candles. What was warmth becomes memory. The feast has ended, yet something of it remains, not the noise or the food, but the order, the gentle harmony that lingers after human voices fall silent. The tables stand bare again, their long surfaces gleaming faintly in the torchlight, a few crumbs of bread left untouched, a drop of wine catching the glow like a jewel. The servants pause to sweep them away, careful and unhurried, their faces calm, their minds settled in the quiet satisfaction of completion. There is peace in the work, a rhythm that matches the night outside. A door closes softly and the sound drifts through the hall like a sigh. The fire burns low, its last sparks rising and fading into shadow. The air cools further, carrying through a half-open window the scent of grass and soil, of earth dampened by evening dew. Beyond the walls, the fields stretch wide beneath the moonlight, their surfaces silvered, every blade of grass shining as if dusted with frost. Somewhere, an owl calls and the sound hangs in the stillness, deep and hollow, before being swallowed by distance. The castle breathes with the night, the timbers settling, the wind sliding along the roofs, the faint creak of hinges as another door closes somewhere unseen. It is not silence that fills the air, but balance. Even in rest, everything continues its quiet motion. The cooling of stone, the fading of embers, the deepening of shadows that pool along the floor. The hall, now empty, feels larger, yet not lonely. Its emptiness has a kind of fullness, the memory of what it held still woven into the air. The rhythm of hospitality endures, invisible but present, as though the room itself remembers every voice, every gesture of kindness, every shared glance over bread and wine. In the corridors beyond, a few servants whisper to one another as they carry baskets of linen toward the lower rooms. Their words are soft and simple, reminders, small jokes, plans for the morning. But even they fall in gentle cadence, never breaking the calm. The ruler's chambers lie high above, their windows open to the cool night air. Curtains drift inward, stirred by the breeze, carrying with them the scent of rain that might come before dawn. On a table near the window, a candle still burns, its flame small and steady. The ruler sits beside it, listening to the stillness of his home. The feast has ended, but in his heart there is no sense of ending. What fills him instead is the quiet awareness of order fulfilled, of people fed, of warmth shared, of harmony achieved not through command, but through care. He thinks of the fields outside, the workers who will rise with first light, the children who will wake to the scent of bread. He knows that what has been built here, walls, customs, peace, will continue to live as long as people remember the rhythm of giving and receiving. The candle flickers once, then steadies, its wax running down in slow rivulets that catch the light. Beyond the window, the night spreads wide, silver and deep, the stars suspended like grains of salt scattered across black water. The world seems to pause, exhaling after the long breath of day. In the kitchens below, the last of the fires are banked, pots are cleaned, knives wiped dry, and cloths hung near the embers to warm for morning use. A cat moves through the shadows, tail curling like smoke, its steps soundless. Somewhere near the stables, a horse shifts in its sleep, hooves tapping once against wood before settling again. Every sound is small, deliberate, natural. The life of the castle continues without hurry. Each space carries its own quiet rhythm. The deep breathing of those asleep in their chambers, the soft rustle of curtains, the faint ticking of the wind against shutters. Even the river beyond the walls flows slower at night, its voice softened, its current wrapped in mist. In this stillness, the lesson of the feast remains. Life, like the meal, is not meant to be conquered or consumed in haste. It is meant to be shared, savored, given meaning by the hands that pass and receive. The ruler understands this as he rises from his chair, walks to the window and looks out across his land. The moonlight washes everything in silver. The fields, the towers, the road that disappears into the forest. There are no banners flying, no fires of war, no noise of power. Only quiet continuity, the slow turning of time that builds rather than destroys. He closes the window and lets the cool air settle behind him. The candle flickers lower, its light trembling before it steadies once more. He moves toward the door, and as he opens it, the sound of the night enters the room. A whisper of wind, the faint cry of an owl, the sigh of distant leaves. It feels like a song of gratitude sung by the world itself. The ruler listens for a moment, then lets the door fall gently closed. Down below in the great hall, the last torch goes out, leaving only the faint red glow of embers beneath the hearth. The walls, bathed in shadow, seem to hold the memory of the day's warmth, as if unwilling to let it go entirely. Beyond them, the fields wait in silence, patient and endless. The moon climbs higher, the stars turning with their ancient slowness, marking the hours without urgency. Time exhales, steady and soft. The castle sleeps, but the rhythm of hospitality, the exchange of kindness, the sharing of warmth, continues like a quiet heartbeat through the night. It travels through the walls across the land into the dreams of those who rest beneath its care. And in that rhythm, unbroken and eternal, the world finds its balance again. Across the sea, Leif's horizon. Now the story drifts west, away from stone walls and quiet halls, beyond the reach of kings and the weight of crowns, into the wide and trembling space where sky and sea become one. The waters below glimmer like polished stone, smooth and dark, reflecting a light that seems both near and unreachable. The waves move without anger, their rhythm slow and deep, the steady breath of a world untouched by boundaries. A small ship cuts through the silence, its wooden hull creaking in time with the ocean's pulse, its sail heavy with wind that smells of salt and distance. On the deck stands a man, solitary but not alone, wrapped in fur and thought. His hair moves with the breeze, strands catching the faint silver of the stars above. His face is calm, the calm of one who has long since made peace with uncertainty. The ocean before him is endless, a mirror that reveals nothing but motion, a horizon that refuses to end. His name drifts through time, Leif, son of Eric, child of the cold north, carried not by songs of conquest, but by waves that remember more than men ever could. He does not seek glory, nor the promise of gold, nor the favor of kings. What he seeks cannot be held, cannot be counted. It lies somewhere ahead, unseen yet known, a place where the edge of the world softens into possibility. The sea hums beneath him, a sound both vast and intimate, like the whisper of a sleeping giant. Each wave rises with quiet strength, folding under itself before reaching the ship's sides, sending droplets of cold spray across the deck. The wood smells of salt, tar, and long journeys. The ropes groan gently against their bindings, the oars rest like folded wings. Around him, the crew moves with unspoken rhythm, each man tuned to the same wordless understanding, that the sea gives what it will and takes what it must, and that all life upon it is a form of listening. They work without command, adjusting sails, checking ropes, watching the horizon that remains veiled in mist. The wind is steady, pushing them onward with a patience that feels deliberate. The stars above open one by one, ancient and knowing, their light scattered across the moving surface like dust on glass. The sky seems infinite, yet it bends low, close enough to touch. The night carries no fear, only vastness. The sound of the sea deepens, its tone shifting from murmur to hum, as if the world beneath the surface was speaking in a language older than time. The man listens. Each breath of wind, each curl of water against the hull feels like an answer to a question he has not asked aloud. His eyes, pale and clear, reflect the horizon, a line that both divides and unites the elements of his world. He remembers the cold cliffs of his homeland, the smell of pine and snow, the long winters when the sun was a memory more than a presence. He remembers the weight of his father's voice, the pull of duty, the way stories of the West were told in half whispers around fires that burned against the dark. Those stories spoke of land beyond water, of forests untouched, of rivers that sang through valleys where no footsteps had yet pressed the soil. He carries those stories now not as prophecy but as possibility. Each wave that passes beneath him feels like a heartbeat of the unknown. The sea, though vast, is not empty. It holds within its silence the echo of every journey that has ever crossed it. Birds fly low above the water, their wings cutting thin lines through mist. Far below, shadows move, shapes of whales gliding in slow grace, unseen but felt through the trembling of the deck. The ship is small against the immensity, yet it moves with purpose, a living thing built from hands that understood both fragility and endurance. The man's thoughts drift like the clouds above him, untethered, wandering between memory and anticipation. He thinks of home, of the people who stayed, of the fire that now burns in the longhouse where his mother weaves by lamplight. He thinks of the map in his mind, drawn not with ink, but with faith. Stars as markers, wind as compass, the heart as guide. He knows that every journey must cross the unknown and that discovery begins where certainty ends. The night deepens and the world folds into shades of blue and silver. The ocean reflects the stars so perfectly that it becomes difficult to tell where sky ends and water begins. The line between them blurs, and for a moment it feels as if the ship sails through the heavens themselves. The crew grows quiet, each man lost in his own rhythm. The sound of oars dipping into the water keeps time with the wind, the ship's motion a slow, steady heartbeat. The man at the bow lifts his gaze toward the horizon, where mist gathers thicker, glowing faintly with a light that is neither dawn nor moon. He senses it before he sees it, a change in the air, a subtle shift in the scent carried by the wind. The salt grows softer, replaced by something new, something living. He closes his eyes and breathes it in. The faint aroma of pine, of damp earth, of distant land. It lingers for only a moment, then fades, but he smiles. It is enough. The promise of what lies ahead is as real as the sea beneath his feet. He knows that beyond the veil of mist there is a shore waiting, untouched, unclaimed, patient. The stars above shimmer, their reflections trembling on the waves like a path laid out for him alone. He rests his hand on the rail, feeling the rough grain of the wood, the vibration of the sea against it, the steady motion that has carried him farther than maps can measure. The wind brushes his face, cool and clean. The ship creaks, the ropes tighten, the water glows faintly under starlight. He does not speak. He does not need to. The world itself is speaking now in the hum of the sea, the rhythm of the waves, the slow unfolding of the horizon before him. The voyage continues not as conquest, but as communion. Each mile crossed is a conversation between man and element, between desire and patience. The mist ahead thickens, and through it the faint outline of something darker appears, a shadow of land, or perhaps imagination, or perhaps both. The man does not hurry, he stands with steady breath, the calm of endless distance in his eyes, and lets the world reveal itself in its own time. The ship moves forward, slow, sure, unafraid. The stars above widen, their light touching water, sails, skin. The sea hums beneath him, deep and full of knowing, and somewhere ahead, beyond the edge of vision, the air smells again of pine, of earth, of possibility. The gentle land beyond. The morning arrives without fanfare, light unfolding slowly over the horizon, soft and golden, brushing the mist from the sea. The ship drifts closer to a coastline that rises gently from the water, green and breathing, lined with tall trees that move with the wind like a welcome. The air is different here, lighter, carrying the scent of pine and damp soil, of something untouched, something patient. The waves quiet as they approach the shore, as if even the ocean respects the stillness of this place. The man stands at the bow, eyes narrowed against the brightness, watching as the shapes of trees sharpen, as rivers flash between them like silver threads. The sunlight is softer than any he has known, not harsh like the northern glare, but kind, almost human, in its warmth. He feels the difference in his bones, in his breath. The crew gathers behind him, their faces calm, their voices hushed. No one speaks loudly. Discovery has no need for noise. The The ship slides into the shallows, its hull brushing against sand that glows pale beneath the clear water. When they step onto the land, their feet sink slightly into the damp earth, cool and alive. The sound of birds rises above them, a language of joy older than words. The man kneels, scoops a handful of soil, and lets it fall through his fingers. It is rich, dark, full of promise. He smiles, not in triumph, but in quiet recognition. He names the place simply without claim, choosing a word that feels like calm, a sound that belongs as much to the wind as to the tongue. The others repeat it softly, testing its shape, and for a moment it feels as though the world has spoken first, and they have only listened. The days that follow pass in still rhythm. They build small shelters from driftwood and branches, roofs of leaves that rustle in the wind. They gather fruit from low trees, drink from clear streams that run between moss-covered stones. The air is warm and sweet, filled with the hum of insects and the rustle of unseen creatures moving through ferns. The sky stays wide, unbroken, its color deep and forgiving. Time loses its edges. There are no bells to mark hours, no walls to hold them in. Each day begins with light and ends with its reflection on water. The men laugh softly as they work, their voices blending with the sounds of the forest. Sometimes they sit in silence, listening to the waves, to the whisper of leaves. They do not speak of home nor of the journey ahead. The world around them feels enough. In the evenings they light small fires, not for warmth, but for companionship. The flames crackle quietly, throwing faint orange light onto their faces. The smoke rises straight into the still air, untroubled by wind. They eat simply. Fruit, roots, small fish caught from the river. The taste is clean, the satisfaction deep. They sleep beside the fire, under a canopy of stars so dense it seems the sky itself is alive. No one dreams of conquest, no one imagines ownership. They are guests, not masters. The land accepts them as it accepts the wind and the rain, without question, without judgment. In the quiet of night, the man walks along the edge of the forest, the sea to his left, the dark outline of trees to his right. The waves move with a slow, measured rhythm, the same rhythm that guided them across the ocean. He looks back toward the ship, now at rest, near the mouth of the river, its mast faintly glowing in starlight. It seems smaller now, humbled by distance. He feels no need to record this place, no urge to carve his name upon it. The memory will be enough. The feel of the soil beneath his hands, the sound of water against roots, the warmth of air untouched by haste. When morning comes again, the decision to leave is unspoken. The ship is prepared quietly, the sails drawn up in the calm dawn. They take nothing from the land but memory, leaving their shelters to the forest, their footprints to the tide. As the ship moves back into deeper water, the coastline fades behind them, its green dissolving into mist. The sea folds over their tracks, smoothing them away as if they had never been. The man watches until the last line of trees disappears, then turns his eyes toward the horizon once more. The air around him smells of salt again, but beneath it lingers a trace of pine and earth, faint yet unforgotten. It clings to him, to the wood of the ship, to the sails that billow with wind. It is not loss he feels, but peace, the quiet knowing that some places do not need to be claimed to be remembered, that discovery can exist without possession. The ocean stretches ahead, calm and endless, and behind them the land remains, untouched, patient, whole, holding their presence like a breath released back into air. The return to quiet shores. The journey home stretches long and quiet, the sea beneath the ship calm as breath, the wind gentle and forgiving. The waves roll low, soft crescents of silver under the pale light of morning. The ship moves not with speed but with grace, gliding through the water like a thought returning to its source. The man stands at the helm, his hands resting lightly on the worn wood, his eyes tracing the slow undulation of the horizon. Around him, the air hums with a kind of peace that can only come after long silence. The men who travel with him speak little. Their voices, when they rise, are low and even, shaped by weeks of listening to nothing but the ocean's pulse. The sea, once vast and endless, now feels like a companion, steady, alive and kind. Days pass in rhythm with the waves. The sky remains open, unbroken by storm or cloud, the stars returning each night to their places as if to guide them gently home. There is no urgency in their travel. The voyage that began with purpose has become one of reflection. The man feels the difference in his chest, the way his breath falls into harmony with the wind, the way his thoughts no longer rush ahead, but move slowly, like the current. He carries no treasure, no claim of discovery, only memory. The sound of leaves stirring in a new world, the glint of rivers beneath soft light, the scent of pine and fresh earth, the feeling of stepping upon land untouched by greed. These are not trophies, but truths quiet and personal. He thinks of them as the ship drifts onward, each wave folding behind like the turning of a page. The crew tends to their work with calm certainty. Ropes are coiled, sails adjusted, the deck scrubbed clean. The wood smells of salt and thyme. The sea, always changing, seems now to mirror the calm of their hearts. Its color shifts from green to blue to silver as the sun moves across the sky. Sometimes in the late hours, the man hears the sea singing, not with voice or sound, but with motion, a low and endless hum that seems to echo from within the earth itself. He understands now that silence is not emptiness. It is depth. It holds more than words ever could. He watches the gulls appear before the coastline, their wings catching the sunlight, their cries high and distant. They circle the mast once before gliding away, and he knows that land is near. The scent of salt thickens, mingling with the faint aroma of smoke carried from somewhere unseen. The air cools, heavy with memory. At last, the faint outline of shore appears, grey and white against the pale horizon, the coast of stone and ice, familiar and unchanged. It waits like an old friend, patient and sure. Fires glow faintly through the fog that clings to the cliffs. The sound of waves striking rock greets him, a rhythm older than his return. The ship slows as it nears the inlet. The water deepens in color, dark and glassy. The men move with care, lowering the sails, preparing the ropes, their motions slow but certain. When the anchor drops, the sound ripples through the still air like a closing heartbeat. The man steps to the edge of the deck, his boots slick with sea spray, and looks toward the land he remembers leaving, the weight of cold wind on his back, the taste of uncertainty, the silence before the first oar struck water. Now he returns, carrying that same silence, but it has changed within him. It no longer feels empty or cold. It feels full, like breath held too long finally released. He descends the gangplank, the wood creaking beneath his steps. His feet touch the shore, stone first, then soil, and he stands for a moment, letting the wind move through him. Around him, the fog shifts, thin and grey, curling like smoke around his shoulders. He can see the faint glow of firelight from distant homes, hear the quiet bark of a dog somewhere up the path, the soft echo of footsteps that might belong to those waiting. He does not hurry toward them. He turns instead to look back at the sea, its surface smooth as glass beneath the evening sky. The horizon stretches wide and colourless, dissolving into air. It looks the same as when he left, yet it feels entirely different. He sees in it not distance, but reflection, not promise, but peace. The ship rests on the water, still rocking gently, its sail lowered, its wood glistening with mist. He feels gratitude, deep and wordless, for the journey, for the ocean that carried him, for the land that received him without demand. The discovery, he realizes, was never of land. It was of silence, the kind that lives beneath sound, the kind that softens the edges of thought and teaches the heart to move more slowly. He breathes it in, the salt, the cold, the quiet, and feels the world steady itself once more. Behind him, the fires burn brighter. Ahead, the sea. Glimmers faintly, endless and patient. He closes his eyes and lets the wind brush his face, the horizon soft as breath, the silence around him whole and alive. The sleep of the world. Night gathers again over the edges of every land, soft and slow, folding itself around the mountains, the plains, the rivers, and the quiet shores. The fires that once burned high now dim to embers, their glow pulsing gently like the final breath of day. Across empires and ages, the earth exhales the same patient rhythm, the same deep and timeless sigh that has carried through centuries of wind and rain, of footsteps and silence. The roads that once echoed with movement are still now, the fields rest beneath the hush of the moon, and the air, cool and weightless, hums with the faint memory of everything that has been. From the steppe to the mountain, from the hall to the sea, each place returns to calm. Each story folds back into the larger story that belongs to the world itself. The wind moves through the valleys and across the forgotten roads, carrying the echoes of riders, builders, sailors, and dreamers. It gathers their breaths, their thoughts, their unspoken hopes, blending them into one long note that drifts across time like music heard through sleep. The earth, endless and knowing, turns beneath it all, steady and kind. The rivers settle into stillness, the forests close their eyes, and the stars above blink in slow rhythm, keeping quiet watch over all that rests below. There is no border between night and memory, between silence and sound. Everything has become one soft motion, the slow, eternal breathing of a world at peace with itself. You rest now within it. The stories that have carried you this far loosen and sink like sand beneath gentle waves. Let the world drift, let the air cool around you, let the rhythm of the earth guide your breath, steady and unbroken. The night continues, vast and tender, a sea without end, and somewhere within its quiet, the world sleeps, whole again, dreaming itself into morning. The world grows still once more. The fires fade to soft red beneath their ash, their glow flickering against walls of stone and tents of hide, against ships that rest in quiet harbours and fields that no longer tremble beneath hooves. Across every land, from the high ridges of the steppe to the frozen edge of the northern sea, night settles like breath, slow and endless. The wind, that ancient traveller, moves gently through all places, over the plains where riders once crossed without fear, through the halls where kings wrote their dreams in ink, across the waters where ships followed stars to unseen shores. It hums through time itself, carrying whispers from each of them, blending their lives into one great rhythm of endurance. The earth does not remember names, yet it remembers footsteps, the way weight pressed against soil and then lifted again. It remembers the sound of quiet labor, of wood carved, of pages turned, of ropes drawn tight against wind. All those who have passed across its face remain part of its breath. Their stories no longer belong to them alone. They belong to everything. The grass grows over their roads, the sea folds their wake, the air hums their echoes until even sound becomes rest. In this stillness, the difference between past and present fades. The plains of the east are not so far from the castles of the west. The rider and the scribe, the sailor and the builder, all move now within the same calm, the same patient rhythm. It is the rhythm of life continuing quietly, of history turning not as thunder, but as tide. Empires once roared and fell into silence. Fires were lit, burned high and became smoke. Yet beneath all of it, one thing remained constant. The steady pulse of being, the gentle order that holds the world together when all else falls away. The steppe still breathes. The halls still stand. The sea still hums beneath the stars. And though the voices that once filled them have long since faded, their meaning lingers, not as noise, but as calm. The stories of motion become stories of rest. The hands that built and sailed and dreamed now rest in the same quiet ground. And the world, wiser for their passing, continues on, unchanged yet renewed. You too are part of that same rhythm. The air you breathe has crossed oceans, has drifted through the ruins of cities, has risen from the forests of forgotten ages. The silence that surrounds you is the same that surrounded them. The warriors, the scholars, the wanderers who came before. They too once paused in the night, listening to the wind, feeling the world slow around them. They too once found comfort in the thought that nothing truly ends, that every sound returns to stillness, every movement finds its rest. So let yourself rest now. The stories have been told, their weight carried gently across centuries to reach this moment. The night holds them all. The light of the hearth, the song of the sea, the whisper of grass beneath distant stars. Everything you have heard, everything that has lived before, lies quiet now, folded within the breath of the world. There is no need to hold it. There is no need to search. The past has already found you. The earth continues to turn, unhurried, beneath a sky without edge. The stars remain where they have always been, patient and clear. Let the wind move through your thoughts until they too grow still. Let the sound of history fade into the hum of your own breath. The night is vast, and the world sleeps within it, calm, unbroken, whole.